Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. We are back for League 2 action on this Thursday night as Port Vale host Notts County at Vale Park as the race for the automatic promotion spots are really starting to heat up. Port Vale are in their first full season under the management of Darren Moore, and tonight celebrates his 1 year anniversary as Port Vale manager, and that was after he did fail to stop them from being relegated last season. But now, trying to return them to League One, he's got them sat in 6th position at the moment, but are just 4 points off tonight's opposition, who sit in 2nd place. It was goals galore in Port Vale's last game on Saturday, with a 3-3 draw away at inform Swindon. An 87th minute equaliser from Tolai salvaged a much needed point for their season. Notts County are now consistently showing how good of a team they are under manager Stuart Maynard after over a year in charge after replacing Luke Williams. As already stated, the Magpies sit in 2nd position, are only 7 points now off top spot Walsall, and Notts County have a game in hand on them as well. It was a comfortable 2-0 win for Notts County against Morecambe at home at the weekend, with second half goals from Whittaker and Jatta making the difference. The reverse fixture saw Port Vale win 1-0 at Meadow Lane with a 23rd minute goal from Tolai making the difference in that game. So in the race for automatic promotion in League 2 will either Port Vale or Notts County take all 3 points. It's really tight and it's really close in League 2 this season. Walsall were almost running away with it until a recent little hiccup in form. They've not won in their last 5 league games, which now means that Notts County are only 7 points behind in 2nd place, and they have that game in hand, which isn't tonight, by the way. The League 2 fixtures for this weekend start tonight on this Thursday, so even though after tonight they would have played the same amount of games, Walsall also play this weekend, so Notts County will still have that game in hand for a few weeks, so they could cut the lead for Walsall down to 4 points, which, Notts County will be aiming for the league title, but at the end of the day, in League 2, the top 3 go up automatically. And I think all of the teams, as long as they get promoted automatically, I'm not sure they'll be too bothered about not winning the league or winning the league. If they win it, I think they'll be absolutely delighted. But if they don't win the league, but they still get promoted automatically, I don't think they'll mind too much. The main idea and the main aim is to get promoted, no matter how it happens. Of course, doing it via the playoffs is the more stressful option, but I think for any of these teams who are fighting at the top of this division, anyway, that they do get promoted, they'll take, and I don't think they'll mind at all. Like I say, for Port Vale, they started the season really strongly as well, and unfortunately they just had a bit of a hiccup and a bit of a poor run from the end of November through to the start of January, when they went 8 games without a win in the league, drawing 5 and losing 3, and they were first position in the league, Port Vale, up until early December, when the form just started to drop a little bit. And for Notts County, it's only recently where they've really picked up the form, which is fantastic to see. They're currently on a 4 in a row run of wins away from home in League 2, which is really strong, and that came after not winning any of their previous 6 before this run of 4 wins in a row. So it seems like they're turning their form away from home, Notts County, which it's probably the hardest thing in these divisions to get a good away form. It can be quite difficult when you go to these places where it's, sometimes it's smaller ground, sometimes the pitch isn't as good quality. So especially, in leagues like League 1 and League 2, and of course further down than that, away form is key. If you can pick up a lot of points away from home, that's going to massively help you challenge to go on and try and win league titles, or even just gain automatic promotion. But for Notts County, it's just 1 defeat in their last 10 in League 2. 8 wins, currently on a run of 3 in a row, and just the 1 draw, scoring 22 goals in those last 10 league games, keeping 6 clean sheets, which is half of their tally this season. They're on 12 clean sheets for the season. Notts County a 41% clean sheet rate, and they'll be looking to try and get a few more clean sheets from now today and then up until the end of the season, as both teams now will be led out of the tunnel by tonight's referee, 27 years old, Ruben Ricardo. He made his championship debut on New Year's Day of this year at the age of 27, so he's obviously got a very bright future in the game, does Ruben Ricardo, and he leads the two teams out with his two assistants of Danny Jarvis and Jacob Leanne as well. So for the two teams, we'll start with the home side of Port Vale, and it's 3 changes from that 3-3 draw at the weekend against Swindon, and Ben Amos remains in goal, who was brought in the summer on a free from Wigan. A back 3 of Nathan Smith. One of the changes is Jesse Deborah comes in for Hennigan, and alongside him in the back 3 will also be Connor Hall, who joined in the summer from Colchester. It's his second spell at Port Vale. 5 in the midfield at right wing back is the birthday boy Kyle John. On the left hand side is Stockport-born 17-year-old Jack Shorrock, and 3 central midfielders, a former Stockport County player Ryan Croasdale, former Sheffield Wednesday man George Byers, and former of Blackpool it's captain Ben Garrity. And the 2 strikers up front will be Lauren Tolite, who brought in for an undisclosed free from Aldershot in the summer. He's currently on 6 league goals for the season, scoring 3 in his last 2, and he'll partner alongside Jaden Stockley, who scored a brace last season away at Port Vale, and he's now at the club, and he's got 7 league goals for them, 3 in his last 4. And then for Notts County, it's 2 changes from their win at the weekend against Morecambe. Jody Jones is out and Charlie Whittaker is out, seemingly injured. Jody Jones came off in the 25th minute in that Morecambe game. So it's going to be Alex Bass in goal, a back 3 of Rod McDonald, who's making his 8th start in a row in the league. And alongside him will be Matty Platt and Jacob Badeau. 3 in that midfield at right wing back will be Kellen Gordon, who got playoff promotion with Crawley last season. On the left-hand side of the wing-backs will be Loney, signed in January from Sunderland. That's Zach Johnson. 2 central midfielders, another Loney, one of them George Abbott, and the captain Matt Palmer. And 8, kind of playing the 8 role, is Curtis Edwards, who was brought in on a free from Woking in the summer. And so was Connor Grant, brought in from MK Dons, as Aaron Nemain went to MK Dons, and Connor Grant here joined Notts County. And the main man leading the line up front will be Alassana Jatta, who has got 14 league goals this season, 2 in his last 3 in their last 2 home games against Morecambe and Carlisle, and he's looking for his 20th League 2 goal of his career. The Gambian, can he make it happen? We'll have to wait and see, but they are the 2 starting 11s for tonight in this big crunch match in League 2. Both of these hunting for those automatic promotion spots and even possibly the league title as Walsall continue to drop points. And there is Alassana Jatta, who is just 1 goal off the 2 top leading scorers in League 2, Matty Stevens for Wimbledon and then Nathan Lowe of Walsall, who's now returned to his parent club of Stoke in that January window. So he'll definitely be aiming for that golden boot. The 6'4" Gambian, brought in just over a year ago now from Viborg. And there is Darren Moore, a year in charge now of Port Vale. He's took charge of 53 matches. He's won 19 of them and lost 20. Didn't pick up any wins in his first 8, and that included 6 defeats. But now relegated to League 2, he's got his team winning a few more games. They're currently on 13 league wins for the season, just 6 defeats in League 2 for Port Vale, and 2 of them have been at home. A 1-0 defeat to Walsall at the end of December, at the start of December, and a 3-2 defeat to Doncaster at the end of August. So it's definitely a team he's built to get promotion, and it's one of those who've just on screen there who's won the League 2 title in his career just last season. That was Ryan Croasdale, brought in on a free from Stockport County as his contract expired at the League 2 champions at the end of last season. And he's currently got 4 wins in a row against Notts County in the league, Ryan Croasdale, including 2 victories in the National League. And there is the 44-year-old Notts County manager, Stuart Maynard, who's taking charge of his 49th League 2 game. He's won 20 of his previous 48, 10 at home and 10 away. As it looks like Port Vale will be the team to kick us off in their all-white kit tonight. It'll be Port Vale in this first half kicking left to right. Notts County in their orange and white kit kicking right to left, as the referee's just numbering up all of the players before we get underway here at Vale Park. Just holds over 15,500. Seems half full. Quite a few empty seats in that stand across from where the camera is pointing, as Croasdale will get us underway for Port Vale, sending it to their goalkeeper of Ben Amos, the experienced 34-year-old, who will send it long out to the Port Vale left. It's headed on by Stockley, hooked away though there for Notts County by their number 2 of Kellen Gordon. And early on, it will be a Port Vale throw-in in the Notts County half. And they want to take it quick, and they will do. It's Byers who gets it from Shorrock, who loses out there to Gordon once again, who can clear it down the Notts County right. Headed forward, though, for Port Vale. And then Abbott's the one to kick it in the air for Notts County. Headed on by Edwards. Can't quite be held up by Grant. Ball is bouncing around, and Port Vale try and work it to the right-hand side. Croasdale beat into the ball there, and it's sent forward towards Jatta, who can get there ahead of the Port Vale defence. Jatta slightly isolated here on the ball. Not many orange shirts around him. A foot in from Croasdale takes it off him, and it's Port Vale back on the ball early on. And it's a 1-2 attempted there, and he'll chase this down. The number 24, Kyle John, the birthday boy, but can't quite beat Matty Platt to it. And it'll be Notts County to start from their goalkeeper, Alex Bass, who came through the Portsmouth Academy, the 26-year-old goalkeeper. Signed in the summer from Sunderland for Notts County, and he's still on the ball here on the edge of the box. Finds Matty Platt, the number 5, looking out to the left-hand side towards McDonald. He eventually play it to him, and he's facing his own goal here, McDonald. He tries to play it forward, but it's a loose ball and picked up by Croasdale in the final third in the right-wing position. Plays it inside, and then a lay-off towards Deborah. He's kicked away there by Edwards, but only as far as a Port Vale midfielder of Byers. And Port Vale have won it up high here, and they want to try and make the most of it if they can. Pass intercepted, though, there by the captain, Palmer, for Notts County. And they'll try and attack with Edwards, laying it off for Abbott. Then goes to his right to Grant. He'll try and spread the play out to the right-hand side, and he'll find Kellen Gordon. His younger brother, Cade, is at Liverpool, and Case is at Derby, so him and his two brothers making it in the world of football in their own ways. With Notts County in the halfway line, no pressure on him at the moment for the captain. Platt turns away from Byers, who did go to press quite aggressively. And still Notts County on the ball with Curtis Edwards, who has had an interesting career, the number 22. He went and played in Sweden from January 2015 to February 2022, and then left Sweden to play in Norway for just under 2 years until returning to England, where he firstly joined Woking and then is now moved on to Notts County. Notts County is still playing out from the right-hand side, about 5 yards inside the Port Vale half with their right wing back of Gordon. Goes into the midfield here to Palmer, the number 80, named the captain for this season, as he did win the League 2 title with Burton back 10 seasons ago. Matt Palmer, as his touch is slightly heavy, and he's been dispossessed by Croasdale, whose pass is loose and it can't quite find a teammate, but then a loose pass from Notts County has forced Jacob Badeau into a foul there on Kyle John, and it's a free kick for Port Vale. It's Ryan Croasdale with the ball just towards this right-hand side on the halfway line, takes it into the Notts County half and lays it off for Kyle John at right wing back, brought in on a free from Everton in the summer, tries a lifted ball down the channel, kicked out of play there by Rod McDonald, and it'll be a Port Vale throw-in midway inside the Notts County half. On this near side, no real chances for either of the two teams early on. Kyle John, tackled there by Abbott, who can play it down the line to Grant on this near side, keeping it away from Croasdale and playing it into the middle here to Edwards, who will then go backwards to restart with Matty Platt. It's now with the right centre-back here. In a right centre-back position, he'll bring the ball forward for Notts County, and it's Gordon, tries the 1-2, but it's kicked away there by Connor Hall, and it'll go all the way back through for Notts County with their central centre-back of Matty Platt, but as the ball was cleared, it's actually gone out of play and curled back in. So it'll be a throw-in for Notts County. 4 minutes in, still goalless at Vale Park. And it's Kellen Gordon to throw that ball back for Notts County. As I'm trying to see the shape for Notts County, it looks like they could possibly go with a back four, but I'm not too sure, as it's George Abbott with the ball, on loan from Spurs for this season. Actually, the Spurs under-21's captain before leaving on loan for Notts County. McDonald's ball to the edge of the box is cleared for Port Vale as he was aiming it towards Jatta. Back, though, with that player, George Abbott, who scored a goal away from home against Accrington in the middle of January. You might have remembered seeing it online. It was a ball that he pretty much got onto, and he put it right into the top corner. It was a beauty of a goal from George Abbott, who seems to be impressing during this loan spell. As Matt Palmer, the captain, Notts County getting into their groove now, 5 minutes in. A lot of possession to start it off, and Palmer plays it into the path towards Gordon. He will chase it down, but he won't beat Hall to it, who just gets rid, kicks it out of play Throwing on the far side towards the final third for Notts County. Not taking any risks there. Connor Hull, who actually got promoted with Harrogate from the National League in the 2020 playoff final, winning 3-1 and scoring in the final against Notts County. And then he also won the League 2 title with Port Vale in his first spell at the club. Still with Notts County at the moment. It's Bordeaux, who looks to be playing left back or left wing back, it seems. And then it's Zach Johnson playing on the right side. So it actually looks like it's Zach Johnson at right centre back, Platt in the middle of the back three, and then Rod McDonald on the left side of the centre backs. And then it's going to be Jacob Bordeaux playing a left wing back position tonight for Notts County, as is with the right centre back now of number 27, Zach Johnson, on loan from Sunderland, making his first start for the club. Came off the bench in their last two home games against Morecambe and Carlisle, but he's been thrown in the deep end tonight, starting away at Port Vale. As McDonald goes for a long ball over the top here towards Bordeaux, who can control it on the edge of the box, and it finds its way to Connor Grant, who's going to run at Deborah. Plays it out to the left to Bordeaux. Goes back once more here to McDonald. Brought in this season from Harrogate. Played for 4 different teams in the last 4 seasons, Rod McDonald. Notts County, Harrogate, Crewe and Carlisle. As Port Vale are happy to sit back here and just let Notts County have some of the possession. Not really doing anything with it as it stands. They've not tested the goalkeeper, Ben Amos, as it's with McDonald on the near side. Midway side the Port Vale half. Tries to play it through the gap there for the run of Bordeaux, but it leaves it and it goes to Abbott instead in the area. Cuts it back. Chance. Grand with the shot. Saved by Amos. Jatta on the rebound and it's well blocked. Really well blocked by their youngster, their 17-year-old Jack Shorrock, who has stopped Jatta scoring his 15th league goal of the season. A ball through by McDonald. It was for Bordeaux, who left it, and Abbott was the one who got onto it in the box. Cut it back for Grant, who was all alone. His left-footed shot 6 yards out was saved by Amos. Then on the rebound, it looked like Jatta was just going to stroke it home, but it was saved and blocked on the line by Jack Shorrock, just 17 years old, starting tonight after missing the last 6 games. As Notts County go long out to the left-hand side, loses out though there. Bordeaux to Kyle John, and Port Vale get it forward. Crowsdale on halfway. He's got an option to the left and he'll play it to Shorrock. Stockport ball wing-back, formerly of the Manchester City Academy. Running at Gordon, going on the outside of him and crossing it into the box where it's caught by Bass. And Notts County have the ball once again. Just relaxing the play. Alex Bass, who actually lost a League One playoff semi-final against Oxford when he was at Portsmouth, lost on penalties in 2020. But there's Amos with the save, and then Jatta on the rebound. Should have really scored, but it's a really good block there by Jack Shorrock, who made his senior debut at the age of 15 years, 4 months and 23 days in the EFL Trophy back in September 2022. So he's a very trusted player so early on in his career. Shorrock. There's a ball down the line there by John. It's come off the left leg of Bordeaux. And it's just less than 9 minutes in, and Notts County have had the biggest chance of the game so far, with that shot blocked off the line there as it's given away though, and Notts County can look to break here. It's Abbott on the left-hand side. Big sliding challenge there from Jesse Deborah, and it will be a Notts County throwing on the near side, just in front of the 2 technical areas, where both Darren Moore and Stuart Maynard are giving their teams instructions here. As the referees just having a word here with centre-back Nathan Smith and Notts County striker Alassana Jatta. Not quite sure what happened. Maybe something off the ball. Let's have a look. It was exactly that. Just a bit of shoving and pushing and an arm thrown to Smith's face, it looks like. That's what he was claiming for. Jatta might be a little bit fortunate. They'll have to get a closer replay to see if it was a real elbow in the face. As Bordeaux throws it long for Notts County, headed away by John, straight back to Bordeaux. And it's been kept in where they had a Stockley, but then given away by Captain Garrity as he was looking to try and find the striker Lauren Tolite. It's now with the goalkeeper for Notts County, Bass, to the right centre-back of Johnson. Time on the ball here, not being pressed by any of the Port Vale players. He goes into the middle to Abbott. Then out wide to the wing-back Gordon. Then into Zach Johnson again, just 20 years of age. Spent 2 loan spells from Sunderland last season. playing in the National League for Hartlepool and also going out to Ireland playing for Dundalk, where he made 17 starts for the Irish side. Ball forward to Jatta on halfway. He holds it up and keeps it away from the number 5, Connor Hall. Then Abbott lifts it out to the right side towards Gordon. It's a short ball and it's headed away for Port Vale up towards the striker Stockley. Cleared by Platt. Can't find Edwards. It's now in the middle to Garrity. He returns it to the central centre-back in that Port Vale back three of Connor Hall. It's now with Deborah. Letting it off to the right wing-back of Kyle John on halfway. Being chased down by Bordeaux. Forced to go back here to Hall. Long ball forward up towards Stockley. Headed backwards though by McDonald towards Tolai, who heads it on himself towards Garrity, who gets into the box. But it's caught and kept away from him by Alex Bass. It still remains 0-0 here, just about to hit the 11th minute at Vale Park. Come on, you pies. Jay Griffin in the chat. Assuming. Is that come on, you pies? Or because I know the Port Vale nickname is the Valiants and the Notts County nickname is the Magpies. And yeah, Notts County have definitely been the better side early on. They play probably the more attractive football. Port Vale are being pretty direct when they do get the ball because they've got two pretty tall strikers up there who they can aim at with the likes of Lauren Tulloy and Jaden Stockley. It's Alex Bass, the goalkeeper, looks to go long for Notts County. It's their turn to go direct. He's looking for Bordeaux, who can't quite win the header there on Kyle John, who's landed awkwardly on his left leg, it seems, but he has got back up to his feet, and Port Vale have got the ball forward to their striker, Stockley, tries to play it inside, but that's a very loose pass straight to Abbott for Notts County. And they restart with their defenders, but they get it back into the midfield here with Matt Palmer. 3 starts in a row now for the captain after he moves that out for the games against Carlisle and Bromley in late January. McDonald can't quite get to the ball first there. Big sliding challenge on him. And he wins a throw-in for Notts County. Or did it come off him last? I think Kyle John was the one who put the slide tackle in on him, and it must have come off John and then off McDonald, and it's a Port Vale throw-in as Darren Moore trying to give some instructions out to his captain, Ben Garrity, who shakes his head as he was spoken to there. Obviously, just not quite the start they would have wanted early on here, Port Vale. Notts County certainly looking the better side. And probably should have scored with that Jatta chance, but it was his 6-yard attempt was blocked on the line by youngster Jack Shorrock. Long throw for Port Vale up to Stockley, headed out of play by McDonald, and midway side, the Notts County half on the near side. It's another Port Vale throw-in. And that was a long throw-in taken there. They're going to go short this time. Tolai, the striker, switching out to the left-hand side to Shorrock, who is going to try and get there, but it's overcooked the pass. And they'll go out for a throw-in for Notts County. Not the worst of ideas there from the Swiss former under-19 international, Lauren Tolai, who last season scored 19 in 44 National League appearances for Aldershot. But the season before that, in the 22-23 season, he had 2 failed loan spells at Salford and Dundee. But obviously just hit it off at Aldershot last season, which got him his move here to Port Vale for the Swiss striker. As he gets it here on the turn, gets away from Platt, but the touch is heavy and it can be taken away from him on the edge of the box by McDonald, who takes it out to the left-hand side for Notts County. Low ball down the line here for Bordeaux, facing his own goal and playing it back to McDonald. It's now on the edge of the area with Matty Platt. Goes to the goalkeeper, Bass, who's played for 4 different clubs in this division. 96th appearance in League 2 for the Notts County goalkeeper. Platt on the ball, midway side of the Notts County half. Gets in between the lines for Abbott, who's being closed down at the moment, but he can shift it to McDonald. Then into the halfway line now for Connor Grant. Turns away from Deborah and tries to play a ball through, but the referee was in the way. It's going to be a drop ball just inside the Port Vale half for Notts County. Like I say, he even looks young as well, the referee. Ruben Ricardo, 27 years of age. Drops it for Matt Palmer, who's got a mask on for a facial injury. And it's now with the right centre-back of Zach Johnson. Gets the return from Platt, and then has to go back to Bass. Now the Port Vale press is getting aggressive, but Notts County can work around it for now. Johnson at the back, just inside his own 18-yard box, goes across here to Platt. Ball short, and he has to play it forward rather quickly to Connor Grant, who's on the floor himself here, but can still move it on to Palmer, then to Edwards. Back it goes to Johnson. Well kept there from Notts County. They're playing some quite attractive football early on here at Vale Park. 15 minutes in, but we're still at 0-0. Notts County attacking down the right-hand side here with Johnson. Finding the wing-back of Gordon. Driving inside. Looking to play backwards to keep the ball. And that's what he does, and it's now with Platt on halfway. Back out to the right side again here to Johnson. Into the middle to Palmer. Then through for Gordon. It's brilliant football. Jata's waiting in the box. If he can find the delivery. It's a lifted one to the far post. It's Bordeaux instead who goes for it. Important header by Kyle John. And a volley away by Jesse Deborah. Port Vale are really on the ropes here early on. Notts County looking the better side. There's a misplaced volley forward from McDonald. Does find Bordeaux. And it's now back on the halfway line via Connor Grant to find Zach Johnson. And if a team look like scoring, it certainly looks like Notts County so far. They go out to the far side again with Curtis Edwards. All midway side the Port Vale half. Everyone behind the ball for Port Vale is just not their striker, Jaden Stockley. All the other 10 players are behind the ball. Notts County with it, knocking it around nicely. Would have been right up there with Walsall, Notts County, but they went on a 8-game run without... they went on a poor run in the season. They only picked up 2 wins from 10 league games between the start of October and the middle of December. 2 wins, 4 draws and 4 defeats, which took them from 2nd down to 11th. So they've done well to pick themselves back up and get themselves into that top 3, where they currently sit in 2nd position. It's on the far side with Notts County. Johnson finding Gordon, keeping the ball away from Shorrock, but can't keep it away from one of the other Port Vale players, and it's now with Croasdale into the space on the right-hand side here for Kyle John. Plenty of room to run into. Bordeaux's going to try and catch him, but it'll be McDonald to do it instead, because the Kyle John touch was heavy in the box, and it's well defended there by their number 3, Rod McDonald. Spent 2 years at Manchester City from 03 to 05, and then spent the next 5 years at Stoke until leaving in 2010. Croasdale spreading the ball out nicely to the Port Vale right wing. It's just that heavy touch from Kyle John allowed Rod McDonald to get there ahead of him, and he fouled him in the box in the end, and it's a Notts County free kick, which they've taken short, and they'll play out from the back now. Shoving the back there on Gordon, and the foul's gone the other way because Gordon handled the ball thinking he was going to win the free kick there. Doesn't agree with the decision there. Kellen Gordon, the right wing back. 27 years of age now. 8th start in the league for Kellen Gordon. He started the last game against Morecambe, but his last start before that was at the beginning of November. Didn't play any minutes between mid-December and the end of January, so he's almost fell out of favour, Kellen Gordon, but then fell back in favour in the last 2 games. It's from the Port Vale left-hand side. It's going to be a delivery in from Ryan Croasdale. The Notts County line is about 10 yards in front of the 18-yard box. Croasdale will still glide it in towards the edge of the box. He's a header away, though, by McDonald. That's a powerful header. And it goes to the halfway line for Port Vale. It's Kyle John. And now restarts with the goalkeeper of Ben Amos. First ever taste of League 2 football for him this season. Brought in on a free from Wigan. As he goes long towards Stockley, goes beyond him. And it drops to Gordon for Notts County. Clears it down the right-hand side towards Edwards. Volleyed away, though, from him by Connor Hall. It's now held up by Tolai. Garrity, the captain, goes back to the halfway line on this left-hand side here. Brought forward and played forward towards Tolai, who's tackled, unfortunately, by Palmer. It's now with Gordon, who curls it down the right-hand side towards Edwards. That battling here with Byers. And the ball played forward in the end towards Jata, just away from the striker and cleaned up by Deborah. And it'll be Port Vale on the ball, just less than 20 minutes in. Still 0-0. Notts County with the biggest chance. Jata having a shot blocked from 6 yards out by the young wing-back of Jack Shorrock. Just showing a replay of that Jata incident with Nathan Smith. And he does throw a left arm in his face there. Obviously no VAR in League 2. But maybe after the game and in the upcoming days, the EFL might have another look at that and they might give Jata a suspension because, like I say, he struck him across the face there after a little bit of argy-bargy, as we call it here, with the centre-back Nathan Smith. As it's Port Vale picking up the ball in the midfield and played forward towards Stockley, just deflects away from him. And McDonald restarts with Notts County's goalkeeper of Alex Bass. Touch out of his feet. And he plays a low ball to the halfway line completely alone is Edwards. And then it's fell through here as the ball forward by Grant. Can't quite find Jatta on the edge of the box and cleared for Port Vale up towards Tolai, who is pulled to the ground there by Johnson. And the referee gives a foul. Zach Johnson says no way. But Lauren Tolai is the one who's won the foul for Port Vale and the free kick. Thanks to everyone who is here. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do. But another chance from that Port Vale left-hand side to get a cross into the box. It's going to be the left-footed ball from Shorrock towards the edge of the box, header away for Notts County. Still alive here, though, for Port Vale. They go back all the way to their goalkeeper of Amos. Sends it onto his left foot, and he kicks it forward, and it's long, and it's a header away by McDonald for Notts County. Still on the halfway liner. Header across by Shorrock, controlled by Crowsdale. Put forward to Stockley, then tries the first-time volley out wide to Bordeaux. Well, to Kyle John, but it's cut out by Bordeaux for Notts County. And Notts County restart with their goalkeeper of Bass to Platt. Being pressed, just about pokes it out wide left here to McDonald, who's been pressed himself here. Tries to play it down the line, takes no deflection. Throwing in the final third for Port Vale. And number 7, George Byers, wanted to take it quickly, but there was not sufficient movement to get that throw-in taken. So it's been left here for the wing-back of Kyle John. John throws it to Crowsdale and gets the ball returned to him. Can he find a cross? He will find a cross. Into the box it goes, headed away by Edwards for Notts County. Drops here for Garrity, the captain for Port Vale. Returns it to the halfway line to Shorrock. Then a right-footed ball forward is flicked on into the air. And then headed down once more. Then headed out wide to Kyle John. Eventually gets him into a position where he can run one-on-one with Bordeaux. He's still with the wing-back. Takes it down the line. First cross deflects off Bordeaux straight into the path of Kyle John. So attack continues for Port Vale. First time cross by Byers. Helped on into the box there by Nathan Smith, but cleared by McDonald. And then Byers on the halfway line heads it away from Jatta. And it's still in the Port Vale possession. To try and get it out wide. It's controlled and then played out wide here to Kyle John, which cross is pretty poor, volleyed away in the end by McDonald, but always finds Crowsdale. 2 headers, 3 headers into the box and all the way through to the Notts County goalkeeper, who quickly rolls it out to their right-hand side here to Kellen Gordon. Got Edwards to his left in a more central position. Too slow to play it to him, so goes all the way back to the right centre half of Zach Johnson. Matty Platt, the former Bradford player, losing the League 2 playoff semi-final 2 seasons ago against Carlisle whilst he was at Bradford. And his ball out to the left-hand side is kept in by Bordeaux, and a low cross into the area is cleared away and then poked away by Kyle John. Dealt with at the near post there by Connor Hall for Port Vale. So just the last few minutes, Port Vale have kind of showed what they're about. They are very direct and the football isn't exactly the best to watch, but can be effective when you've got 2 taller players up there. Bordeaux taking his time with his throw in the final third, waiting for a bit of movement from his teammates, throws it towards Edwards, who can get away from his man, play it behind him to Abbott, still 25 yards out, gets beyond 2 Port Vale players and pokes it through for Connor Grant, who in the box gets onto his right foot and tries to lay it off for Edwards, but it's cut out by Crowsdale and cleared forward up towards Stockley, but it's nowhere near the striker in the end and seen through to Matty Platt at the back for Notts County. Gets it forward to the halfway line to George Abbott, the 19-year-old youngster on loan from Spurs. 1 Spurs appearance for him, and it was a late substitute appearance in the Premier League against Leeds back in May 2023. Palmer keeping the ball away from Tolai. And out to the right to Edwards, and on to the right once more to Gordon. Everything to his left in the final third. He's 1-on-1 with Shorrock. Bit of space for him to work across to the far post where it's headed away. And it does drop to a Port Vale player of Tolai. It's now Byers out wide left to Shorrock, and the counter-attack could be on here for the Valiants as they get down the left-hand side with Shorrock being chased down by two Notts County players. He'll keep going, he'll get knocked off balance, and he'll fall to the ground. And that'll be a goal kick in the end, well defended by Kellen Gordon. Just slightly knocked Jack Shorrock off his stride, and not enough contact for a foul, and a rightly given goal kick in the end by the referee. "26 minutes in, we're still 0-0. There was only one goal between these two in the last meeting early on in the season. It was a 1-0 away win for Port Vale. Tolai with the goal in the 23rd minute that day, but Notts County had 16 shots compared to Port Vale's 8. They both had 3 on target, and Notts County had 73% of the possession. Notts County had 633 passes compared to Port Vale's 253. I think it'll be a similar stat tonight. Port Vale don't really go for many passes, do they? They try and get the ball forward as quickly as possible. Throwing down the line for Notts County, headed away for Port Vale by Shorrock, and then glanced on towards Stockley. Just goes beyond him though, and dealt with by Platt, and it's now with Rod McDonald at left centre-back, who will bring it forward and plays it out wide to Bedeau. Forced to go back after the press from Kyle John. Plays it inside to Palmer. His pass comes off Crowsdale. Throwing for Notts County, about 10 yards inside the Port Vale half. Taken by Jacob Bedeau. And he'll throw it into the space down the line for Curtis Edwards, who will give chase to it. Will he clip the heels there of Connor Hall? No, he doesn't. And it's going to be a throw-in for Notts County in the final third. He thought he'd got his heels clipped by Curtis Edwards there. The number 6, Nathan Smith, it was in fact. Bedeau gets the return from the throw-in. And down the line for Edwards, it's overhit. Goal kick for Port Vale. Nathan Smith, the 28-year-old, he's been at the club since 2012. And he's got over 400 appearances for Port Vale at the age of 28. It's his 7th start in a row. Nathan Smith at the back for Port Vale after not playing any of the first 15 league games. Didn't get a single minute, which is strange after playing 42 of the 46 League One games last season. It's Port Vale player from the back. It's to their right-hand side here to Deborah. Brings it forward. It's now in the Notts County half with a pass to Tolai. Met by McDonald, but can keep it moving here to Garrity. Deborah down the line and gets the ball back to him there off Kyle John. And then forward it goes here to Tolai. Gets it out wide to Garrity. In the final third, he's out wide and the cross comes off McDonald. And right next to the corner flag, it'll be a throw-in for Port Vale. Not really got into the game so far. Ben Garrity, the captain, who signed a new 2-year extension on his contract in August of last year. If he scores tonight, it'll be his 30th Port Vale goal since joining from Blackpool in 2021. Kyle John with the throw-in. Gets the ball back to him off Tolai. John goes back here to Byers. Then across into the middle here for Shorrock, who will clip it into the 18-yard box. He's overcooked to easy catch for Bass. He's going to kick it out of his hands here and go long, aiming for Jatta on the right-hand side. The win holds the ball up, and it can be headed behind by Shorrock for a throw-in for Notts County on the halfway line. Like I say, it just seemed like the wind had really held that big kick forward there by Alex Bass. And the throw-in will be taken here by the wing-back of Gordon. Gets it back to him by Palmer. And now Palmer again goes to Zach Johnson at right centre-back. Former England under-18 international, the Sunderland loanee. Less than half an hour in, still 0-0. No big chances really for Port Vale. The one for Notts County early on with Alessana Jatta having a shot blocked from close range by Jack Shorrock. Edwards on the halfway line for Notts County. Trying to unlock this Port Vale defence, who have kept 10 clean sheets themselves this season, 4 of them at home, 6 of them away. They have won 6 of their 13 home games this season in the league, Port Vale, which isn't really the greatest of records. Like I say, currently on a 2-win 2-win run at home in the league at the moment. Only lost 1 in their last 7 since the change of the year. Port Vale. As Bordeaux chests it down from the kick forward by Bass. Plays it into the middle of the park here to Abbott, then back out wide to Bordeaux. Still in the Notts County half at the moment on the near side. Goes back to McDonald. It's now Platt to the right centre-back of Zach Johnson, who will bring it forward. Tolai comes across to try and put a bit of pressure on him. He'll calmly find Palmer in the midfield. In between the lines for Abbott. Turns away from Crowsdale. Calmly done by Abbott, who tries to build the attack down the left now with Grant. Bordeaux. Back inside to his right 5 yards to Abbott. Lays it off for Bordeaux once again. Backwards to Palmer, the captain for Notts County. Sees a run from Bordeaux in behind, but can't quite find or have the confidence to go for the pass. It goes out wide to McDonald. Instead, his ball inside the flex and cleared away, but always finds Curtis Edwards, who's battling with Tolai, but works it to Jatta, and his pass just goes behind Palmer. But then the ball forward for Port Vale is cut out by the sliding Edwards, and they can attack again here, Notts County. Bordeaux, early cross into the far post towards Jatta. It's a header away, though. It drops to Garrity, who plays it behind Crowsdale. And it's now with Abbott, out wide right to Gordon in the final third for Notts County. Running at Shorrock, onto his right foot, delivering a ball to the far post, let through here for McDonald, who gets a crossing himself, and it's palmed away by the goalkeeper, and then Grant with the shot, blocked, drops back to him, Grant again, it's a brilliant save, down low to his right there by Ben Amos. And Connor Grant's had a few chances already tonight, 3 attempts at goal, and they've either been saved or blocked. McDonald with the cross, which actually turned out into a bit of a shot, nearly catching out Amos at the near post. That's where he parried the ball out there, and it dropped to Connor Grant. Not the most confident of goalkeeping by the 34-year-old. Connor Grant's first shot had to be blocked by Smith, and the second shot was really well saved at the near post by the goalkeeper. Getting his right hand to the ball as they've worked it short from the corner. Palmer puts it into the far post here, where it's volleyed across goal, not dealt with. McDonald hooks it into the air towards Jatta, who goes up for it. It's punched away by Amos, who wins a free kick. And Notts County again, coming closest to scoring in this game on this Thursday night. I've got 2 home games coming up, Notts County, where they're looking to pick up 6 points out of 6. Got Colchester in the weekend, and then next Tuesday they've got Tranmere, who are struggling a lot at the moment in League 2. But that save from Amos makes up for the parry that he did for the McDonald strike towards the near post. Just don't want this to be a regret, these missed chances for Notts County, if the game goes the other way and Port Vale get the first goal. They go long, Port Vale down the left-hand side to Stockley, tries to help it on, but it's cleared in the end by Platt. Towards Edwards, who flicks it on. Can't find an orange shirt. And Port Vale get it to the halfway line to Deborah. Out wide to the right side here to John. Can't take on Bordeaux, strong challenge from the number 4. And Notts County can try and go forward. Connor Grant into the path of Bordeaux, but he's overhit it. And that will be a throw-in for Port Vale. Just not quite having the rub of the green so far tonight. Connor Grant, who's only started 4 of the last 9 games now since his return from injury, which kept him out from October to December. Only got the 1 goal so far since joining Notts County in the summer, and that was against Shrewsbury in the League Cup. And he probably should have had his goal already tonight, but blocks and saves have stopped him from getting that first league goal. Long throw-in by Deborah. That's a huge throw-in, and headed inside there by McDonald, and then volleyed on by Crowsdale, where it'll be given chase to by Garrity. Platt tries to see it behind for a goal kick, but he can't, but then he can outmuscle Garrity to get the ball away from that corner flag. It's really good defending there by Matty Platt. Made over 150 appearances now at this level, Matty Platt. As Abbott takes it beyond the halfway line, he's looking to play it out to the left-hand side, and here's Bordeaux. Let's just go back to Abbott. They slow it down here. Notts County. It's with Palmer, 30 yards out. Not being closed down, so he's going to go for the long-range strike, and it's just wide of that bottom left corner. Not the worst of attempts there by Matt Palmer. who's yet to score this season. And he didn't score in the entirety of last season as well, but he was out for the majority of the last campaign with a knee injury, Matt Palmer. Port Vale played out here with Crowsdale forward to the halfway line to Tolai. Then to the left side here now to Connor Hall, who goes to the left wing back as Shorrock. On his left foot, gets across into the 18-yard box, but no one's making the run at the far post. Bordeaux will chase it and will get there ahead of Kyle John and plays it low down the line towards Connor Grant, who's battling with Garrity, and it's an eventual foul and a free kick for Notts County. Garrity just pulling down Grant. Still 0-0 though here, with 9 minutes to the first 45 to play. Zach Johnson turning away from Tolai. That's a brilliant bit of skill. Now beyond the halfway line, and he keeps his balance as well. Johnson playing it forward to Grant in the central area, slipping it through into the box for Jatta. The pass is slightly overhit, but he can get there ahead of Deborah and poke it out wide to Gordon in the final third. On that right foot, crosses again. The header towards goal's just wide. Bordeaux from wing back found himself in a striker position, and the header from around 6 yards out was aimed towards the bottom left corner. It's just gone wide of the post, but I think there was a foul called as Bordeaux won the header. I think he pushed a Port Vale defender in the back to win the header. So if he had found the back of the net, it wouldn't have stood anyway for Notts County. There's Notts County winning back on the halfway line. Good midfield work there by George Abbott. Working it to this near side, facing his own goal. And starting again with Alex Bass, met by a round of applause by his goalkeeper, by his manager there, Stuart Maynard, who is very heavily possession-based. He started his career coaching as an assistant at Hemel Hempstead, Billericay, Kingstonian and Wealdstone, until taking over at Wealdstone in 2021. And then left in January 2024 for Notts County, where he only won 2 of his first 14 games in charge, Stuart Maynard, from January to April, but he now seems to be clicking with them, just over a year in charge now. 38 minutes in, we're still goalless. Notts County with the best chances of the game, for sure, but not able to find the back of the net. And there is Stuart Maynard in discussion with his assistant there, João Alves, who stepped up to assistant manager role in the January of this year. It's now Notts County with a bit of defending to do, with Abbott bringing the ball out to a left back position towards the corner flag now, clears it, and it comes off Stockley and it drops to Kyle John, who goes down the line, cuts back away from Bordeaux, still with the birthday boy, and he goes back to Byers, who's back in the team tonight for Port Vale. George Byers there, number 7. Crowsdale on halfway, around the corner and down the left-hand side for Tolai. Drops off for Shorrock and then returns it to Tolai in a left wing position. Doesn't fancy the left-footed cross, so holds it up here. And he goes backwards in the end with the pass to the number 5 of Connor Hall. Then down the line to Shorrock, who has not been able to keep that ball in. And in the defensive third for Notts County, they'll have themselves a throw-in. So, Notts County throwing. Got a rich history, this fixture. Their first meeting was 131 years ago, and it was a 6-1 Notts County win that day in Division 2. Now they're in League 2, and it's currently 0-0 as we're edging towards half-time at Vale Park, just north of Stoke, Port Vale Stadium. As McDonald goes on a run from centre-back and loses out to Byers on halfway, and it's now with Port Vale, who start all the way back to their goalkeeper of Amos. Plays out to the left here to the number 5, Connor Hall. Plays a pass into the middle to Stockley, tries to touch it out wide left to Tolai, but Zach Johnson gets there first for Notts County, and it's the away side who can restart on the ball here. Finished 14th last season, Notts County, after a really, really good start. They only picked up 2 defeats in their first 12 games from August to October. And when Luke Williams left at the start of January, they were in 7th position and ended up finishing 14th, which kind of shows you the transitional period they had to have with Stuart Maynard coming in to take over as manager, as Edwards is tackled strongly, but then it's a really poor giveaway by Crowsdale, and you can see that the Port Vale fans are just starting to become a little bit unsettled with this performance so far early on. On the halfway line with McDonald. It's now Palmer. Everyone behind the ball for Port Vale, except for Jaden Stockley. Still with Palmer on the halfway line. Finds Platt in the middle of the back three. Forward in between the lines for Grant, who takes it on the turn. Can't quite get the ball back to his teammate there of Abbott. It's now with Garrity, the captain. Taking too long on the ball and then tackled by Abbott. He's having a really poor night so far. The captain, Ben Garrity, who was actually Port Vale's top goal scorer last season with just 10 goals in the league. And only scored 1 in his last 16, which kind of showed that when his goals dried up, the results went poor, and obviously Port Vale ended up getting relegated as Alex Bass, the goalkeeper, kicks it out to the Notts County left. It almost came off Stockley, but it has worked its way to Rod McDonald, who yet to score for Notts County since joining the summer from Harrogate. Did score 1 last season, McDonald, from centre-back for Harrogate, and that was in the FA Cup against Marine. 3 minutes to go until half-time. It's still Notts County on the ball in their own half. The right centre-back, Zach Johnson, with it, goes short to Palmer, then returns it to Johnson again. Tolai will close down, he'll play down the line to Palmer. Edwards is in a more central area in a bit of space, and he finds him. Then he tries to go for an early pass to Jatta. He made the run in behind, so the ball was short. And it's now with Port Vale with it, taking too long on it again, and has to go backwards there. Nathan Smith. It has worked, but the lack of options going forward is a worry there for Port Vale, as Deborah from centre-half brings it forward himself. Runs into a bit of traffic, but turns back to keeper, and it's now with Ben Garrity. Switches it out to the left here to Byers. And into the space here for the number 5, Connor Hall. Towards the final third, he's going to go for an early ball in. It's a low one, it deflects off Palmer. And it will be a corner for Port Vale on the far side. It's been a pretty scrappy performance from the Valiants so far. Notts County, I think, will be really frustrated if they somehow go behind in this. It's going to be an in-swinger from their number 7, George Byers. He's only making his 6th start of the season. His last start was at home to Colchester back in October, as he swings it into the near post, headed away by Jatta. It's now with Shorrock, back down the line for Byers. On that left wing, 1-on-1 against Jatta. Gets onto that right foot and crosses it into the box. It's header into the air there by Abbott. Controlled by Edwards in a right-back position. Tries to clear it, comes off the Port Vale number 5 of Connor Hall, and it will be a throw-in there for Notts County. Yeah, George Byers missed a lot of this season out from October to January. He's been back for the last 3 games, and this is his first start back since that injury in October. Long throwing by Zach Johnson, and Port Vale win it back though, shrugging Gordon off the ball. Tolai with a cross, which comes off Johnson, and next to the corner flag, it will be a throw-in for Port Vale. And they will leave it here for Jesse Deborah, their centre-back, who has got a huge long throw-in. And they're going to try and make the most of it here. Former Halifax man. Crystal Palace fan as well, in fact. Jesse Deborah. As his throw-in. It's thrown high into the box. It's a volley in the 6-yard box away by Platt. Back out towards Deborah, who will let this roll out for another throw-in. So it's going to be the same idea here. And it wasn't a bad throw-in there. Put it right into the 6-yard box, but it was a free clearance somehow for Matty Platt. In it goes again. 1 minute added on towards the near post. Headed into the air by McDonald. And then volleyed away by Jatta. But again, he's put it right in the air. Still in the final third for Port Vale. Headed to the edge of the box by Deborah. Volleyed in the end away by Abbott. But Port Vale can work it back to their goalkeeper here of Ben Amos, who spent 14 years coming through at Manchester United. Made 7 appearances for them. 1 in the Champions League and a home game against Valencia in December 2010. And also 1 in the Premier League. A home game against Stoke in December 2012. As Crowsdale, 25 yards out, weaker left-footed shot is blocked by Platt. Sent into the air here towards Tolai, who heads it into the box towards Stockley. Headed away by Johnson for Notts County, only as far as a Port Vale man who heads it forward, and it's controlled by Stockley. And then played out wide to Shorrock, who's going to run at Gordon into the box. Goes for a cross, which deflects, and it's headed away by McDonald. Still alive in the air, it's a punch by Bass. And he drops to Jatta on the edge of the area, who goes back to Gordon, who gets rid of the ball. And the half-time whistle then is blown by Ruben Ricardo. And after the first half, it is Port Vale 0, Notts County 0, and that's probably the closest Port Vale have come. A deflected cross into the box there by Shorrock was really well dealt with there by the centre-back of Rod McDonald, who's had plenty of touches on the ball in this first half, but Notts County should be the team in front. Jatta had a shot blocked off the line by Shorrock very early on in the game, and then midway through the first half, Conor Grant had 2 chances at scoring. One was saved and then the other one was blocked. Notts County have been the better side, knocking it around nicely, creating chances where they should have scored. They haven't. Port Vale have played a very scrappy style of football and only just got anywhere near goal then with that deflected cross, but nothing came of it. So here at half-time, we are goalless as it's Port Vale 0, Notts County 0. Definitely for sure, Port Vale have been Notts County have been the better side, but that might just be because of the contrast of styles. Port Vale are very direct, where Notts County are all about getting that ball on the floor and passing it around and trying to tire your opponent and force them into pressing you when they don't want to, and then playing around them if you can. But it's still 0-0 at half-time. Conor Grant with the best bunch of chances, really, for Notts County. Forced a really good save by Amos within that first half. But Jatta with the main one, with that shot blocked off the line by Shorrock. Probably should have got his 15th goal of the season there, Alassana Jatta, but not to be for the Gambian. He was called up for the first time for the Gambian national team in the November international break, but he was only able to make the bench, and he didn't come off the bench for Gambia, which would have been a slight disappointment for the big man up front for Notts County, not at least getting a minute or so on the pitch to make his international debut. Thanks to everyone who's listened at half-time. Make sure you do come back if you do leave just for the half-time break. We'll go through some of the scores in the Europa League. We've had 4 early kickoffs where Fenerbahce have beaten Anderlecht 3-0 at home. Ferran Varos beat Victoria Pilsen 1-0 at home. Midtjylland were beaten 2-1 at home to Real Sociedad. And Royal Union Saint-Gilloise has been beaten 2-0 at home by Ajax. And then currently at the moment at half-time, AZ Alkmaar are 2-1 up against Galatasaray. Troy Parrott with a goal there for AZ Alkmaar, the Irish forward. Porto Roma currently 0-0 as it stands. PAOK are 1-0 up at the moment against Bucharest at half-time. And FC Twente are 1-0 up at home to Bodo Glimt as well. And then in the Conference League, we'll just go through the main stories, really, because some of those teams I've never even heard of. Shamrock Rovers, a 1-0 away win for them against Molde. They were down to 10 men after 42 minutes, Molde, and then Shamrock Rovers got their goal in the 57th minute. So they take a lead going into that second leg. That would be historic for Shamrock Rovers to make the last 16. Then at half-time, Copenhagen are 1-0 up against Heidenheim. Larson with a goal just on half-time. Ghent Betis is 0-0. Is Anthony starting there for Real Betis? He is. Up front with Bakambu and Azal Zulit. And midfield, a good midfield 3. They've got a decent little side, Real Betis, under Manuel Pellegrini. They've got Mark Roca, Isco, and Giovanni Lo Celso as their midfield 3. That's a tidy little midfield 3, that, in my opinion. But not in a great run of form at the moment. Real Betis, just having a look at their recent form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just one win in their last 6, which was away against Mallorca. So they're the main results at the moment in Europe, and this game is the only English league game being played tonight. Also got the darts on as well, the Premier League of darts. I saw Luke Littler do a comeback just before against Rob Cross. I saw that. Van Gerwen beat Bunting 6-1 with an average of 109. And Aspinall was beaten 4-6 by Gerwin Price, averaging better. Aspinall, but Price obviously just better on the doubles. And then they've got one more group game, haven't they? It'll be Humphreys against Dobie. Then the winner of Humphreys-Dobie will play Gerwin Price. As Littler will play Van Gerwen in the first semi-final. But we have also got another commentary coming up this weekend. It's not on the channel yet, so you can't see it advertised. But we are also changing our focus to the women's game, where it's the North London derby, Arsenal taking on Spurs Sunday, 12:30 kickoff. So make sure you check that one out. It's always a good game, that one. I do enjoy commentating on the women's game. Brings out some really good stories and some really exciting games. So, and that'll be at the Emirates as well, and they usually nearly sell out the Emirates. That's how big the Arsenal women's side is. It's the biggest in England for sure. The Arsenal women's side, it's huge, and when it's a real big game, they do pretty much sell out the Emirates, which, like I say, is really impressive. And then possibly next Wednesday, I might commentate on Real Madrid against Manchester City. But yeah, we'll wait and see on that one. See if I can get the notes done for that game. And as well, just talking about the Shamrock Rovers win that they got away at Molde, Michael Noonan becomes the youngest goal scorer in the history of the group phase of the European club competitions. At 16 years old. 16 years and 197 days old, previously held by Lukaku. So, not sure how true that stat is really, because it's not the league phase anymore, is it? He's the youngest scorer in European club competition history. Right, okay. It's not the league phase, he's just the youngest scorer in European club competition history. That's impressive. Not heard of him before. Michael Noonan. It's just 16 years old. Scary, that's, 4 years older than me. Just having a look into him here now. 16 years old, wow. Don't know if he started the game, but even so, even if he just came off the bench, to score at 16 years old is an impressive achievement. And the Galatasaray equaliser, if you want to have a watch of that. If you can find it on Twitter, the TNT Sports Twitter, that was a pile driver into the top right corner there by Roland Salai. And again at half-time here, they're just showing the replay of that Alassane Jatta arm throw into the face. I think it was Nathan Smith. And like I say, I think after this game, I think the EFL will have a little look at that and the FA will have a look at that, and Alassane Jatta might pick up a little ban of his own there for that arm across the face of the Port Vale number 6, Nathan Smith. Of course, Port Vale isn't a real place, but it is in Stoke, the stadium. And Nathan Smith, who's been at the club since 2012, did attend Stoke City games until the age of 16 years old. And then his footballing career kind of took over and he had to stop going to see the Stoke games. And he's only had 2 loan spells during his time at Port Vale, Nathan Smith. It was a loan spell at Stafford in 2014-15 season, then a loan spell the season after in the National League with Torquay, but then other than that, he's been with Port Vale ever since. And like I say, racking up those 400 plus appearances for the club. But the second half of this game will be getting underway in around 5 minutes' time. So if you've got any half-time predictions for full-time, then put them in the chat. Let me know what you are thinking. Hopefully we do get some goals in this second half. As Port Vale have only won 2 of their last 8 meetings against Notts County, and both of their last 2 wins have been 1-0 wins, both away from home as well. One obviously early on this season in October 2024, and then the other one, and their other win was back in February 2015. And for Notts County, they've not won any of the last 3 against Port Vale. Their last win against them was a 1-0 home win in League 2 back in January 2018. So I'm really selling the fact that we hopefully will get goals by telling you stats of these 2 teams playing each other and only able to win 1-0. So I'm not really painting the best of pictures, but let's hope that history doesn't repeat itself and we get more than 1 goal in this second half. But in terms of on the bench, they've got attacking options, Port Vale. They've got Ronan Curtis. By the way, all of their substitutes, Port Vale, were brought in this season. Nathan Broom, their goalkeeper, on the bench is on loan from Swansea. He was brought in January. Ben Hennigan was brought in on a free from Fleetwood in the summer. So was Sam Hart in the summer from Sutton. Raheem Harper was brought in November as a free agent. Ronan Curtis on a free from Wimbledon in the summer. Antoine Hackford brought in on loan from Sheffield United in the summer. And in January, they brought in Jemia Umolu. It looks like a really easy name to pronounce, but then I'm struggling with it. Jemaya Umolu, the 19-year-old. And in fairness, it's almost the same for Notts County. Just 2 of their 7 substitutes didn't join this season. Sam Slocum was brought in 2019, and then Madu Cisse was brought in through the academy. But the other substitutes, Robbie Cundy, Nick Cerula, Will Jarvis, Jack Hinchy, and Mai Traore, have all come in during this season. So a lot of new faces, but that's the standard at this level. You know, teams do pretty much change every year, and nearly all their players change every year because the contracts aren't as long. So there is a lot of chopping and changing. That's why a lot of the time you will find, you know, a lot of different clubs in the title race each season. You know, it does change because if you can just assemble a squad together where, you know, you can get them to click, then you can have a pop at the title for sure. Obviously, if you've got teams who have got more money, they'll obviously always be there. But sometimes, even when, you might not have loads of money, but if you just get in the right players and they click with the right manager, then there's no reason why, you know, those smaller teams or teams on smaller budgets can't have a go at promotion in these kind of leagues, especially when it's 3 automatic spots and 1 playoff spot as well for promotion. You know, that's 4 chances to go up into the next division. Yeah, second half underway in a couple of minutes' time. Don't think there will be changes from any of the 2 managers. Definitely, I don't think from Notts County, because I thought they played pretty well all together and I don't know if they were unfortunate, but they definitely probably should have scored at least once in that first half. As the substitutes are warming up there on the pitch at the moment during half time. Like I say, saves have been forced out of Ben Amos, the Port Vale goalkeeper, but the biggest save was from his wing-back, Jack Shorrock, who blocked a Jatta strike off the line. His 12th start of the season for Shorrock, the young wing back. He's been out for the last 6. His last appearance for Port Vale in the league was a 45-minute cameo away at Grimsby on the 29th of December. 17 years of age, like I say, made his senior debut in the EFL Trophy in September 2022, just over the age of 15, and then made his league debut for Port Vale at the age of 16. So definitely see a lot of potential in him, this club, which was founded back in 1876. And of course, they're playing the oldest club in football, Notts County, founded in 1862. But let's hope for goals. As mentioned, both teams have scored a lot of goals this season. That isn't, that's not being questioned. Port Vale have got 56 goals scored in all competitions in 36 games, and Notts County have got a few more. They've scored 64 in 35. Just for Port Vale, it isn't the most attractive football to watch on the eye. Like I say, very direct and can be a bit scrappy at times when the ball kind of is just bouncing around and not exactly falling to anyone's feet. Both teams are back out here and I don't see any changes. So it's going to be as you were for this second half. Of course, eventually changes will be made throughout the second half, but none made at half-time from Darren Moore or Stuart Maynard. So it will be Notts County this time to get us underway in the second half, kicking left to right, Port Vale right to left. If Notts County are able to win, they shut the gap to 4 points to Walsall at the top of the league. It's Jatta gets us underway to Abbott. Then to Johnson, across to Platt, back to the goalkeeper of Bass. Clears it long beyond the halfway line up towards Jatta, who heads it down for Edwards, taken over here by Connor Grant. That's now Gordon into Edwards. Gordon again, kicking it off Shorrock. And that'll be a throw-in for Notts County, just inside the Port Vale half on this near side. And there is Darren Moore, the Port Vale manager, who you might remember took interim charge of West Brom at the back end of their relegation season in 2018 from the Premier League. He took charge of 6 Premier League games, won 3 of them against Spurs, Newcastle, Man United, drew 2 against Swansea and Liverpool, and lost 1 against Crystal Palace away in the final game of the season. And in that April of 2018, on that run where he picked up those wins and draws, he got manager of the month, Darren Moore. And then after West Brom, he moved on to Doncaster and then spent 2 years at Sheffield Wednesday, where he got that very dramatic promotion with them last season into the Championship. Not last season, sorry, season before. Getting him into the Championship. As it's a Notts County corner hit. Ball in from Gordon, and it can't be kept in the pitch there by the goalkeeper, Ben Amos. It just went over that white line, and it will be a Notts County corner on the far side. 90 seconds into this second half. Plenty of bodies in there for Notts County to aim for. It's going to be an outswinger from their number 18 and captain, Matt Palmer. Left arm in the air. And the ball delivered in. It's a glider to the far post where it's headed away for Port Vale. Only as far as McDonald, who kicks it on but can't be controlled by Grant. Cleared for Port Vale, but only as far as the left wing position here to Gordon, who on his right foot will deliver a ball into the far post. And it's shielded behind by Croasdale. And a goal kick for Port Vale. And it'll be taken by their goalkeeper, Ben Amos, at the age of 34 now. Former England under-21 international. Played for them from 2011 to 2012. It's not a ball in there by Gordon. It's not a bad ball, but no one really attacking it at the far post. Deborah for Port Vale gets it to the halfway line here. Can't keep it alive though there, Stockley. And it's Notts County in their own half with the ball. A lifted ball towards Jatta, headed away by Deborah. Controlled here by Byers. Still in the Port Vale half. He's twisting and turning, trying to get away from Abbott. Works it here to Kyle John, who kicks it off Badeau. And it will be thrown on the halfway line for Port Vale. And he can't quite take it quickly there. Kyle John is just crouched at the moment. Is Jaden Stockley, their 31-year-old striker. He's got 5 goals in 7 league appearances against Notts County. His last goal against Notts County was in a League 2 campaign in the 18-19 season. But it's not looking good for him. The former Aberdeen striker that came through at Bournemouth's academy. He's now sat on the floor. Clearly in a bit of discomfort here. Stockley. Got 2 strikers on the bench he can call upon. Darren Moore, Antoine Hackford and Jemiah Umolu. So have a look. Stockley was just controlling that ball then, and then it was just a slight kick from McDonald. Nothing really that major, but it's obviously hurt the striker. I don't know if my lip reading's any good there, but it looks like he was saying to the physio, I can't put pressure on it. Again, that might not be a very accurate telling of what he said, because my lip reading is absolutely shocking, but that's what it looked like to me there. But it looks like they're going to make a change, and they're not going to go for any of the 2 out-and-out strikers they've got on the bench. Port Vale, they're quite young, Hackford and Umolu, 20 years old and 19 years old respectively. So they're going to go for the 28-year-old of Ronan Curtis, who's usually more seen as a winger. So we'll see if there's maybe a bit of a shape change for Port Vale. As Jaden Stockley just slowly walks off the pitch here, the striker. Looks like he's just hobbling slightly. It was a weird one. Like I say, didn't seem like to be much contact in the tackle, but it's obviously enough for him to come off. So early change in the second half. Jaden Stockley off for Ronan Curtis, the Port Vale number 11. See, like I say, see if there's any change of shape here for the home side. So throwing on that right wing back position for Kyle John into the final third. It's headed on by Tolai, but then cleared in the end for Notts County and headed on by Grant. Can't be flicked on by Jatta. Kicked into the air for Port Vale, but then headed away by Badeau, but given away by Edwards to Croasdale. It's now Curtis playing it forward to Tolai, who can head it on towards the runner. Curtis, who can get there in the box, pokes it to his left. Shot from Shorrock, and it's blocked there by Johnson. And it can be cleared here by Abbott potentially. No, plays it back to Johnson. Back forward to Abbott. Down the line for Gordon. His touch inside his paw. Tackled there by Byers. It's been seen as a foul by the referee. Byers doesn't agree. But the referee's given that decision. Really not happy with that decision, George Byers. As Kellen Gordon just stays on the ground at the moment. Played a touch inside. Yeah, just the follow through was what caught Gordon there. Stood showing as well a little bit from George Byers. So back underway. Notts County play out from the back on the far side with McDonald. Forced to go back here to Platt, being closed down by Tolai. Platt facing his own goal now, then turning forward, and his touch goes out of play on the far side. Thrown for Port Vale. Taken quickly by John to Byers. Returns it to John. Runs out of room. And it's going to be a goal kick for Notts County. Just overhit the touch there. Kyle John, who's only ever played for Everton before this season. The wing back. Joined in 2007 at the age of 6 and left in the summer. Never had a loan spell or anything away from the club. He only scored once in 90 under-21 appearances for Everton. Kyle John. He's against Brighton away in January 2023. Palmer plays it to the left centre-back here, McDonald. Can he play it down the line? He's going to try to, and he does get it down the line, but not towards a orange shirt, and it's dealt with there by Nathan Smith, who goes long towards Tolai. Header away, though, there by Platt for Notts County. Lifted ball again down the line by Bedeau this time. Does it take a deflection? It does. Then it'd be a Port Vale throw-in. A Notts County throw-in, sorry. Just inside their own half on this far side. Bedeau throws it forward, up towards Jatta, who's holding it up, but loses out in the end to John. And it's now back to the goalkeeper of Amos. On his left foot, he'll go long down the middle of the pitch, up towards Tolai. It's a header won, though, instead there by Palmer. Dealt with, though, here by Croasdale for Port Vale. Playing out to the left-hand side, into the space here for Shorrock, who will get there ahead of Gordon. Gordon puts the tackle in, and eventually it's run out of play there by Jack Shorrock. And it'll be a throw for Notts County this time. Still 0-0, 53.5 minutes into the game. Gordon clipping it up towards the front men of Grant. Tackled, though, in the end, and it's now with... Wow, it's a ball that had to be dealt with there by Nathan Smith. Helped out by his centre-back partner, Connor Hall, there, as Jatta nearly got in between the two of them. Nearly a bit of a mess at the back there, as Deborah sends it long down the right for Port Vale. Header won by McDonald. Chested down by Palmer, then cleared by McDonald. Only as far as the head of Byers. Gets up towards Ronan Curtis, who heads it on to Tolai, then returns it to him, and then again back to Tolai, and then tries to poke it through once more there to Ronan Curtis, but it's gone through to the goalkeeper. Croasdale in the centre circle, finding Byers, then back to the right centre half of Deborah, then forward to Croasdale. Plays a low ball to Tolai, tackled though by Platt, shoved off the ball. Referee sees nothing wrong with it. And it's now the away side back on the ball. All three of Notts County's away defeats in the league all came in a row against Salford, Walsall and Crewe from the 16th of November through to the 14th of December. So after that little away blip, they've pretty much been on form away from Meadow Lane. As a ball into the space there by Johnson. Can't find Curtis. Edwards. And that'll be a goal kick for Port Vale. And here is Connor Hall lifting it down the left channel towards nobody. And out of play, a throw-in in the defensive third for Notts County. And this is quickly becoming a League 2 quality game. It sometimes can be quite hard to watch when the passes don't start finding their required targets. And you can see a lot of throw-ins and a lot of goal kicks. And it can get just a little bit boring at times. Hopefully that game doesn't turn out that way. As the left wing back Bedeau turning it forward and playing it down the line here. Held up by Grant, but then loses out in the end to John. It's now Deborah down the line to John. Turning, trying to go forward, but tackled by Bedeau. Grant then battling with Garrity. Last touch comes off Connor Grant, and that'll be thrown for Port Vale. And it'll be taken by Jesse Deborah, I assume, because he's got quite the throw in his locker. Thrown forward towards the edge of the box. Jesse down by Tolai. By Ronan Curtis, sorry. And he gets away from Edwards. And he gets across into the near post. It's slightly deflected and just about gets its way through to Bass, who kicks it quickly out of his hands through towards Jatta. It's a slight header on it there for Port Vale, and that's a key header. Back to the goalkeeper, off the top of the header, Connor Hall. Had to make it because Jatta could have been in behind there. And it's now returned to Connor Hall from the goalkeeper. Croasdale going back to Nathan Smith. Byers. Into Deborah. Back into the number 6 of Nathan Smith. His last league goal coming almost a year ago now, away at Cheltenham on the 17th of February. Start with the goalkeeper, Ben Amos. Only played 4 times last season for Wigan as their backup goalkeeper, all in the EFL Trophy. This is his 12th appearance of the season for Port Vale. He's 7th in League Two. Just the one clean sheet, but since he's come into the side, Ben Amos, in the last 6 league games, they've won 3 and drawn 3, so they're yet to lose with him in between the sticks, despite conceding 3 at the weekend at Swindon. Lifted ball down the line, controlled here by Tolai, sorry. Keeps it away from Johnson, then goes back to the halfway line here, then forward again, but cut out by Gordon. Notts County need to try and get it forward quickly. Inside it goes to Palmer, laid off to Abbott, and then back it goes to Platt, who holds it up in that back 3. And then tries to release it out to the left to Bordeaux. Cut out, though, there by Kyle John. That's a really sloppy pass, and now Port Vale can go forward. Garrity on the edge of the box towards the right-hand side. He's got the run of Kyle John. He'll play it to him, but he's overhit it. Can just keep it in, but it was a cross which would have been better if it was more on his path, but it deflects there, I think, off McDonald. There will be a Port Vale corner on that far side. Just not the best of layoffs there by the captain, Ben Garrity, the Liverpool-born central midfielder. And I actually heard his voice before, as I was doing a bit of research on him, the Scouse central midfielder, and he's mates with the UFC fighter Paddy the Baddy. He was on his podcast just over a year ago, and that's how I found out he was Scouse, and he was born in Liverpool, because his accent has that Scouse in it. In-swinging ball in. It's a shocker. No curl on it. Just didn't get his foot around the ball. That's absolutely woeful. Goes out to the near side here, where it's been kept alive by Kyle John, who with the right foot will then put a swinging ball in. It drops in the area towards Tolai, but can't beat the goalkeeper to it of Bass. And instead of going for a quick kick this time, he'll just keep it in his hands for now. In the 18-yard box of Matty Platt for Notts County. Goes to his left centre-back here of McDonald. Forward to Bordeaux. Facing his own goal, wanting to turn and kick it forward. He'll do just that, but he'll kick it out of play. Throw in for Port Vale. Didn't seem like it took a deflection to me. Bordeaux's not happy. I didn't think it took a deflection, but, Bordeaux is right in front of it, so he'll probably have a better call than me. But then also, you'll always ask for it, won't you? You'll always ask for it being your ball, even when you know it's not. As Byers tries to turn Abbott, and the kick away from the Notts County midfielder drops straight to Croasdale. So Port Vale are back on it, and they've definitely been the better side second half, Port Vale. Can't say the same about the first half, as Deborah tries the 1-2 there, but it loses out in the end. But then Notts County give it away. Can't find Jatta up front. Port Vale restart on the halfway line with Croasdale. Forward to Byers. Back into Croasdale again. Out to the right here on the halfway line to Deborah. Lifted ball down the channel, looking for Tolai. Comes off the head of McDonald, and then played back to him by Platt. McDonald down the left channel here to Grant. Can't keep it alive though. Tackled, and Port Vale have it back with Deborah. Touches heavy. Tries to play it inside. Caught as he played it. And the referee will give the foul in the end. He's just off the pitch at the moment. He definitely felt the contact there. Jesse Deborah. He's being helped back to his feet. Is he there by Jacob Bordeaux? Yeah, he is. Just got there ahead of Bordeaux, Deborah. And just slightly caught on top of the foot. Good centre-back, Jesse Deborah, won the FA Trophy at Wembley in 2023 with Halifax. Just the one goal this season and a 1-1 draw at home at the start of October. He was on the bench last game, Deborah, after being out the previous 5. It's from the free kick, it's put into the box long, and it's dropped here to Deborah, whose shot is really poor. Blocked and cleared in the end there by Jatta. Really didn't catch that strike at all. The centre-half, Jesse Deborah, and it's gone all the way back to their goalkeeper here of Amos. Gets it onto his left foot and clears it long. Down the middle of the pitch for Port Vale. It's flicked on and in behind for Tolai, who gets there ahead of the defender. On the angle, he goes for the shot, but it's well blocked by Johnson. And it's a corner kick on the near side. Really good flick on there by Nathan Smith. And Tolai was in the box, but he was stopped in his tracks by Johnson, who forced him out wide and then got the block anyway. Certainly a lot better from Port Vale. We're 62 minutes in now. It's still 0-0. Not much to separate these two sides. In swinging cross to the near post, headed away by Jatta to the edge of the area. Kept alive by Shorrock, who sends it out to the right-hand side here to Croasdale. Being chased down by Edwards. Croasdale puts a cross into the edge of the area. Control and a turn. Can the ball be released? It's released back out wide to Croasdale, who will put a ball into the near post. It goes all the way through and it's into the hands of Bass. Off the thigh of Gordon. Bass again goes for a quick kick forward. Can he find the man up front, Jatta? No, it's headed away, but only as far as Abbott, who's knocked to the ground there for Notts County. And it's not seen as a foul, so Port Vale will have it again. And since the break, Notts County have lost control of the game. Curtis held it up nicely and it's now been released to Shorrock. Running at Johnson, goes on the outside, crosses near post, it bounces and it goes behind for a goal kick. But it's much better from Port Vale in this second half on the 1 year anniversary of their manager, Darren Moore, coming to the club. Were promoted via the playoffs in League 2 in the 21-22 season, Port Vale. So they have done it through the playoffs before. They beat Mansfield that day. And Anthony has scored for Real Betis, by the way. We were talking about him before. Scored against Ghent. So, he's not a terrible footballer after all, is he? Anthony, sometimes it is just the environment you're in and the league you're playing. Don't get me wrong, definitely think £90 million is probably a bit excessive still, but he's not as useless as what United fans were making out he was. Port Vale have got another injury concern here. I think it's the youngster, Jack Shorrock, the 17-year-old, who has missed the last 6 games injured for Port Vale and he's returned tonight. So a little stoppage in play with 26 to go. Tolai just try to say he was held back there as he went through on goal. It's like Johnson just not letting him have a sniff, really. It was a good flick on from the long ball there by Nathan Smith. And Tolai was sent out wide and then his shot was blocked in the end by Johnson, the Sunderland loanee. Still just receiving a bit of treatment. Looking at his right calf there. And it looks like he'll probably have to be brought off here for a wing back of Sam Hart. The number 42 brought in on a free from Sutton in the summer. It's his second spell at the club. He had a 6-month loan spell from August 2016 to January 2017. So he has spent time at the club before Sam Hart, although it was coming up to nearly 9 years ago now. So there is the change. The 17-year-old Jack Shorrock, who impressed me, did spend a little time at the Manchester City Academy, will come off with 25 to go. And he'll be replaced by Sam Hart, the 28-year-old wing-back, who's made well over 100 appearances at this level. Started his career coming through at Manchester United, spent 4 years at Liverpool, leaving in 2017. His last goal came for Oldham against Port Vale, funnily enough, in a home fixture back in November 2021. He hadn't played any minutes in the last 3 league games, Sam Hart, but he's on tonight. Boring 0-0 written all over this game, I think. Yeah, I'm trying to make it sound as exciting as possible, but sometimes when a game is just slightly dull and lacking many, big chances, sometimes it's difficult to hide that fact. But yeah, hopefully the commentary's trying to make it sound a little bit more exciting. But yeah, I've certainly watched better games and I've had more fun on Thursday nights. But hopefully we get a goal. The reverse fixture was also 1-0 to Port Vale at Meadow Lane in October of last year. As Notts County have got it as we're back underway here at Vale Park. It's Johnson at right centre back on the halfway line for Notts County. Out wide it goes to Gordon. Back to the halfway line to Johnson. Time on the ball here for the loanee. Signing brought in January. Making his first start for the club. Palmer into Abbott in the centre circle. Goes through though for Edwards, who slips it for Jatta. 25 yards out, running towards goal. Onto his right foot. Can he release the shot? Yes, he can, but that's wildly high and wide. And that is a goal kick for Port Vale. He apologises there, Jatta, because there was options to his right, but decided to go on his own. It's definitely more so been a game of 2 halves. Notts County were much better in the first half, but Port Vale have stepped up in the second half and probably been the more dominant side, as we're going to see another change here for Notts County. It's going to be Kellen Gordon, So 2 former Crawley players swapping positions on the bench and on the pitch. So Kellen Gordon off for Nick Cerula, the Cypriot. Former under-21 international for Cyprus, played against Norway in September 2019. Bristol born though. So Kellen Gordon off for Nick Cerula, who missed the last game against Morecambe, but he's back tonight. Yeah, appreciate the enthusiasm on that one, mate. Hopefully a good last 20 minutes. So let's hope. That's all we can do is hope. Like I say, my team, Stockport County, are out of this division. We're in League One and doing pretty well. So I'm not overly bothered which way this game goes. I just want someone to score and take the lead. If I had to have a preference, it would probably be Port Vale, because they've got Ryan Crowsdale, former Stockport County captain. So, but if Notts County to score and win the game, I wouldn't really mind at all. Cerula, who usually plays on the left side of the wing backs, he is playing on the right side, coming off the bench for Kellen Gordon. It's a Notts County throwing on the halfway line with Abbott. He will throw it backwards into his own half here to Johnson. It's now with the goalkeeper in the 18-yard box of Alex Bass. Goes across to his left here to Matty Platt. Now to McDonald, who just about controls it. He goes long and high and down the left-hand side here for Bordeaux. Headed away, though, from him there by John. And it'll slowly roll out for a Notts County throw-in, which will be thrown backwards again into their own half here to Rod McDonald. Must be an unfortunate name, that Rod McDonald. It's almost like Ronald, isn't it? It's a bit of an unfortunate nickname, wouldn't it be? Wouldn't it, for Rod McDonald, the experienced 32-year-old? Throw in here for Bordeaux on the halfway line for Notts County, far side. Waiting for a bit of movement with 20 to go. Throws it towards Palmer, but he's been tackled by Byers, but the loose ball goes towards Tolai, but reaches Platt instead first. And it's now with Platt, the centre-back for Notts County in the 6-yard area. Clips out to the right-hand side here to Johnson. Controls it, but it's a sloppy touch, and it's out for a throw for Port Vale. Just kind of got under his foot there, Johnson, and just came off his studs and away from him out for a throw-in. Forward towards Curtis, but can't quite be controlled, and it's cleared in the end by Platt. Throwing in the final third here for Port Vale. Less than 20 to go. It's still goalless at Vale Park, as they've also got a home game next Tuesday. Port Vale welcome Salford, who are one position below them in the league table. Currently in 7th, Salford, under Carl Robinson. Long throwing by Deborah to the near post. It's come off the chest of Matty Platt and held at the near post by the goalkeeper, Bass, who really dived to get across to stop that from going in. It might have just been going wide anyway, but the goalkeeper taking no chances. He throws it long out to the left to Abbott. Quick 1-2 there. And then a ball forward towards Jatta. It's cut out though. Headed down by Crowsdale. And then Hart finds Garrity to Crowsdale. Forward here to Curtis. Keeps it away from Abbott and then goes back to Deborah. He takes a touch forward and plays it into the Notts County half out wide right here for John, who keeps it away from Grant, but then shrugged off the ball by Jatta. Nothing given by the referee, but it's continued the play because Garrity came out with it. Brought forward here by their number 5, Connor Hall. Gets away from Curtis Edwards on the edge of the box onto his right foot. He lays it off for Crowsdale in the area. Chips it in. He's asking for handball. And the referee doesn't give it. And that'll be a corner on that far side for Port Vale. It was a half-hearted question from a couple of the Port Vale players for that handball. Doesn't score often, Crowsdale. He's got 3 though this season. It came off his arm, but his arms are more tucked in towards his chest. It would have been a very harsh handball for me there if the referee had given it. But it's his 21st start in a row, Ryan Crowsdale. As the corner goes in off the top of the head of Hart, drops towards Hall, who's going to play out wide left here to Tolai, who gets a cross into the box, headed away by Platt, back out towards Tolai on that left wing. Gets it onto his right foot, Then onto his left. Try to lay it off the heart, but it's short and then cleared by Edwards. And it'll be Grant to give chase to this. Crowsdale will get there first. And he'll go back to his goalkeeper of Amos. He then goes forward to Kyle John. Plenty of time on the ball here for the right wing back. As Port Vale just restart, slow the game down and restart. Stockport are a good team, always back them. Rovers game was a shame, goals after 90 minutes. I usually always, yeah, I know. Yeah, actually I missed that game. The one again. If you're talking about Bristol Rovers, which I'm assuming you're talking about, that was a frustrating one. Like I said, I didn't watch it and I wasn't there. But apparently we give away a silly free kick at the end of the game to let them equalise. I think it was the 91st minute, which would have been 6 wins in a row, I think, for us. But still unbeaten, so can't complain too much. Got Wigan away at the weekend, which I'll be there for. Looking forward to that. Another ground to tick off that I've not been to before. But in this game, it's still Port Vale on the ball, near side halfway line with their number 5, Connor Hall. He's driving forward with it and gets away from one Notts County player, then tries to play it into the path of Hart, but that pass is so sloppy. And the poor clearance, though, from Notts County allows Port Vale to come again. Ronan Curtis on the left wing, down the line for Hart. He'll cross it into the box. It's a teasing one. It's a header won by McDonald. Controlled on the edge of the box by Abbott. Played out wide now to Grant, who needs to try and play it forward. He does to Edwards, but it's overhit. Picked up by Crowsdale, and Port Vale can go again. Much better from Port Vale, but just no real clear-cut scoring chances, really, in this game. Not really made a save out of Alex Bass so far. It's on the right-hand side here with Tolai. Running at Abbott onto his left foot. Deflected cross goes into the box. It's headed on by Deborah. Well over the bar and wide, and it will be a goal kick for Notts County. 15 to play. Still 0-0 at Vale Park, as the Valiants are currently holding Notts County, the Magpies, to a 0-0 draw, where it's almost a feeling of, obviously both teams would love to win the game, but it's almost like both teams just don't really want to lose it, which is kind of leading to the stalemate. Long ball forward by Notts County. Drops for John for Port Vale. Then flicked on by Garrity. Dealt with by Platt. Ball kicked off Garrity by McDonald. And it's a goal kick for Notts County. It's Darren Moore in conversation with his assistant there, it seems. Wayne Jacobs. Also got 2 coaches in his staff of Jamie Smith and Lee Bradbury. Long ball forward again by Notts County, headed one by Deborah this time. Now the play, it goes for a Notts County throw-in just inside the Port Vale half on that far side. But thanks to everyone who is here and who's listening. If you could like and subscribe if you haven't already, that would be brilliant. There's the Doncaster manager who's in attendance tonight, Grant McCann. Still not taking this throw-in yet, Notts County. Eventually taken to Palmer. Bordeaux helps out, but his touch is heavy and it goes out of play for a throw-in for Notts County. Last touch clearly came off a Port Vale man because they didn't exactly protest that decision, as McDonald takes a heavy touch and then pulls down his opponent. And it's a free kick which they're taking quickly, but a heavy touch from Ronan Curtis means he's tackled. The ball bounces off the defender, then back off to Curtis, and it's a throw-in for Notts County. As Rod McDonald has stayed down here, it looks like he's come out worse from his own foul. Just took a heavy touch, and the Port Vale man got there ahead of him, pulled into the ground, toe-light. But like I say, it's just frustrating a game like this because it's just that little bit of quality that the game's lacking with these sloppy passes that are going a bit wayward. It can just completely kill the flow of the game. You can tell it's an edgy one, and you can tell that this game's big for both. So midway side their own half here for Notts County. It's a throw-in for McDonald, who's back to his feet, and will look okay to continue. Long throw-in it is, up towards Jatta. Dealt with there, not very convincingly by Nathan Smith. It's now Edwards, ball through for Jatta. Great tackle by Smith, stopping him on the edge of the box, because Jatta would have been in behind there. Deborah clears it just off the head though of Palmer. Flicked in behind there by Edwards there to Bedeau, who holds it up and goes back to Palmer onto his right foot, laying it off for Bedeau again. First time Notts County have been able to really knock it around in this second half. They've not been able to do it as much as McDonald switches it out to the right to Johnson. Out wide it goes to this near side to the substitute Cerula. Johnson making a run ahead of him from centre-back. Cerula doesn't use him. Goes to the halfway line to Platt. 15-yard pass to his left finds McDonald. Palmer on the far side. Keeping it simple, going back to Matty Platt. Then across to the right centre-half here of Zach Johnson. Finds Cerula. Getting away from Hart. And from Captain Garrity. Playing a pass forward to Edwards. On once more to the left it. Oh, Bedeau can't quite find the ball in the box to Palmer. And then cleared in the end for Port Vale. Up towards their striker, Tolai. Headed forward though by McDonald to Edwards, who loses out here for Notts County. And Port Vale now have it. Byers goes beyond the halfway line. Wanting to go forward, but the pass simply isn't on. And they're restarting their own half here with their number 6, Nathan Smith. Turning 29 at the start of April. 6 weeks until his birthday. Here's Hart, the substitute wing back. Going back here into Smith. No pressure on him in his own half at the moment as he finds Jesse Deborah. Not rushing his next pass here, the former Halifax defender. Hall finds the ball forward to Curtis. And then back into his own half here to Smith. Back out wide to Curtis. Takes it beyond that halfway line. Not loads of options in front of him. He has got one out to the left there if he wants to use it. He goes forward instead, and there's a trip there on Sam Hart. But the referee doesn't see it that way, and he collected the ball in his hands there, Sam Hart, expecting the free kick. And instead it's gone the other way for handball. There's going to be a double change for the away side. And it looks like we're going to get a debut for Mai Traore. Never appeared for his country of Guinea. But he's going to get his first Notts County appearance here. He'll replace Connor Grant. And the other change is Curtis Edwards off for Jack Hinchy, who they brought in the summer from Brighton on a free, after spending the second half of last season on loan at Shrewsbury. Another former Stockport County player, Jack Hinchy. So Hinchy and Traore on for Grant and Edwards. It's a debut for Mai Traore, who's taken the number 7 shirt at Notts County. He's a 6'1" striker, and he'll play alongside Alassana Jatta. So just a few more questions for that Port Vale defence. Long kick forward from Bass, the goalkeeper for Notts County. Headed in the air there by Smith. Not once but twice. Then flicked on by Garrity. Cut out though there by Hinchy for Notts County. And they've got it on the halfway line with Johnson. Out wide it goes to Cerula. Back to Johnson, who goes to Platt. Has to clear it first time. It's a long one up towards Jatta. Header won though there by Hall. It's not a great header, but it's helped on by Hart, who kicks it forward towards Tolai, who does hold it up beautifully and flicks it to his right to Garrity. That's brilliant striker play. Out wide right it goes here to Kyle John, who doesn't fancy running at McDonald, but plays it inside to Garrity, who then goes back to Deborah. Then inside here to Byers, being closed down by Abbott, but gets it away from the Spurs loanee. And then back out wide it goes to John. Towards the final third, he's going to run at Palmer. Towards the corner flag, he cuts back. Plays it to Crowsdale. Inside there to Garrity. Back out wide to John. Crowsdale. Back heels it to John. Tripped on the far side. Free kick for Port Vale in the final third. Brilliant angle to cross the ball. The substitute Hinchy, the one giving the foul away. who will take the free kick. It looks like it'll be a Ryan Croasdale delivery from that right-hand side. It's a one-man Notts County wall. Looks like they might have put their tallest man on the wall, or Alassana Jatta, which is slightly risky. I'd rather have him in the box trying to defend this free kick. Or is it Traore, the man on the wall? I think it's Traore, the substitute. Jatta's there at the far post marking Deborah. So it'll be Croasdale to take with 7 minutes to go. He won't take it yet because the referee wants to have a word here with the captain of Notts County, Matt Palmer. After a quick discussion with the man with the mask on, it'll be Croasdale to deliver. It's a one towards the far post, towards Deborah, glanced away. It will be chased down here by Sam Hart, the wing-back for Port Vale, who keeps it alive, and he shrugs off Jatta and crosses, which deflects off Palmer. Jatta's back to his feet and he out-muscles Hart to get it back for Notts County, and he just gets rid. Up it goes. Traore will chase this one down. It's dealt with, though, there by John. And he goes to his goalkeeper, Amos. Traore continues to close down. Plays a pass, though, to Croasdale. Back to the goalkeeper, Amos. Gets rid first time up to the halfway line towards Tolai. And it deflects off McDonald here to Deborah. Tolai's to his right and he'll lay it off to the Swiss striker, who's currently playing on the right wing. Gets onto his left foot. Crosses deep to the far post towards Curtis, who gets it down and puts it into the back of the net. And Port Vale have a potential winner here. They have been the much better side in this second half, and they have been rewarded with a late goal, which puts them just the 1 point behind tonight's opposition. And it's an individual moment of brilliance from substitute Ronan Curtis, which might have just got Port Vale all 3 points. Deborah from centre-back was bringing the ball forward down the right channel, laid it off for Tolai, who got it onto his left foot a bit too easily, put it to the far post. Curtis onside. He was left alone by Johnson. It's shocking marking from the young loanee from Sunderland. And Ronan Curtis, with the high ball, was able to chest it down and volley inside the 6-yard box. The angle's also pretty tight, but he puts it through the legs of the goalkeeper, Alex Bass. And for his third league goal of the season, that is seriously skillful from Ronan Curtis. It's his first goal since the start of December. It's his first home goal in the league since the middle of October. And with 4.5 left to play of the 90, it's Port Vale 1, Notts County 0. And that is some goal from Ronan Curtis. They'll be frustrated, Notts County, because they were the best side in the first half and had 3 or 4 good chances to score. Attacking in the second half, they've been non-existent. And Port Vale have been on top, and they've been the team who have been able to score as Notts County get a ball into the box and it's headed away at the near post. Corner for the Magpies. It was a header away there at the near post by Nathan Smith. Less than 4 of the 90 to play. Port Vale won the reverse fixture 1-0 at Meadow Lane. It could be the same scoreline this time around. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinger from Matt Palmer. It needs to be the best delivery he's got. In it goes towards the goalkeeper, who can only punch to the edge of the area. A volley towards goal there by Abbott. Blocked by Hart. Abbott chases it down though on the near side. Not many options there with him. He plays it low to the near post to Bordeaux, who lays it back off towards Abbott. Strong sliding challenge where he had to win the ball, and he did there, Sam Hart. But only as far as Traore. Now out to the left-hand side to McDonald. It's not controlled though in the box there for Notts County, and it's cleared for Port Vale. And it's cleaned up at the back there by Hinchy, who returns it to the goalkeeper of Alex Bass, who will go long out to the left for Notts County. Headed on by McDonald. The flag stays down. Traore on the edge of the area. Back out wide to McDonald. The ball's a bit short, and it's a sliding challenge there from John to kick it out for a Notts County throw-in. Good goal, that one. I think that's what happens when Notts start to get rough and try the bullying tactics. I just can't believe that marking from the youngster and the loanee, Zach Johnson, to allow Ronan Curtis to bring it down and volley like he did in the 6-yard box. Port Vale have won it back from the throw-in. Tolai's ball forward is not great, and it's intercepted by Johnson, who overruns it. Kicked off him, though, by Tolai, and it sends it forward for Notts County, up towards Bordeaux. Heads it into the box here. Abbott goes down under a challenge. Referee doesn't move. He's still alive, though, with Notts County. Bordeaux goes back. McDonald crosses into the box, and it's caught there by Ben Amos. And with 2 minutes left of the 90, Notts County now start to try and attack. But it might be a little bit too little, too late. Savile Abbott went down. Byers the one cutting across him. He catches that right leg. Byers is a lucky man there for me. I think that's a penalty. Cuts across George Abbott and catches his right leg. Referee was unmoved and didn't give anything. Port Vale have it on halfway. Down the left channel from Hart. Flicked inside. What a ball that is to Croasdale by Tolai. Croasdale's isolated, but he can play it into the path of Garrity, who gets the shot off first time. It's sliced behind for a goal kick. And now the game gets into a bit of life with a minute to go. We've watched 85 minutes of pretty poor football, and now it turns up a level with 5 to play. Still 1-0 to Port Vale, though. And it's a big 3 points for Darren Moore's men on his 1-year anniversary at the club. As we're going to get a Port Vale change here later on. As for Port Vale, despite winning the game, it actually keeps them in 6th. They don't move up anywhere, but they go on the same points as 4th and 5th, which is Wimbledon and Doncaster. They'll go 1 point behind 2nd and 3rd, which is Notts County and Bradford, and the 8 points behind Walsall, who are top of the league. And Lawrence Tolai, who's worked his absolute socks off tonight, is down at the moment for Port Vale. I'm assuming he might be the one who will be coming off shortly. He was the one who put the cross into the far post. He kind of got under it, kind of bobbled up on him, Tolai. So the cross went high in the sky, but Curtis just chested it down and then volleyed it right-footed through the legs of the goalkeeper. It's an impressive goal. It really is for Ronan Curtis, off the bench early on in the second half, replacing the injured Jaden Stockley. Still being treated by 2 physios here, Lauren Tolai. And it won't be Tolai to come off yet. They made another change. They're going to make 2 changes here, Port Vale. So the first change sees the number 45 come on, Rakeem Harper, who's worked with Darren Moore previously at West Brom. There's 7 minutes added on here. So Harper on, for Kyle John. And the other change will see Lauren Tolai be replaced by the young 19-year-old loanee from Palace, brought in the January window of Jemiah Umolu. See if he can make a difference with these 7 minutes added on. Big kick forward by Bass, flicked on towards Jatta as well, but cleared in the end by Smith. Up towards Umolu. Can't quite keep it alive up front. Garrity heads away, throwing for Notts County on that far side. It's on this near side for Notts County with Cerula. Wants to go forward, but the only pass is to go across the pitch here to McDonald. Forward now to Matt Palmer. Onto his right foot. And plays it back to the halfway line to Matty Platt. Quickly gets it out to this near side instead now to Johnson. It's now Cerula. Running forward towards goal. Playing it to his left to Hinchy. And then across to the far side to McDonald. Still patient build-up play from Notts County. Bordeaux takes on one player and plays it inside to McDonald in the corner of the box. Back out of the box it goes to Palmer. Now 5 yards to his right to Hinchy. Then out to McDonald, whose cross comes off the top of the head of Garrity, but then he heads it forward himself here. 1-2 there with Bordeaux, and he went to cross. And he's been caught. And he's been caught, I think, just outside the box. And it'll be a free kick for Notts County. That is ever so close. McDonald headed it forward. And it came off Bordeaux into the path of McDonald, who went to go and cross it, but he was stopped in his tracks there by the captain Garrity. And thankfully for the Port Vale captain, it happened just outside the 18-yard box on that left-hand side. Could have very easily been a penalty there. Slightly hobbling still Garrity, despite him the one fouling McDonald. This will be Port Vale's 38th victory against Notts County in the history of the fixture. Can they get the delivery right here? It's going to be in from the captain, Palmer. Pretty much everyone within the 6-yard box here. Notts County trying to attack the ball into the net, and Port Vale trying to keep it out. As the centre-back here, Nathan Smith, is having to come off for Port Vale because there's a little bit of blood on his shirt. And they're going to have to defend this without him in the box. Palmer, in it goes. Headed towards goal, off the bar and then over the bar. What a way that would have been to have introduced himself to the Notts County faithful. My Traore with the free header. He lost his man of Sam Hart. And 5 yards out, he's headed it onto the bar. And it came back out to him. And he couldn't direct it on target. That second header went high and wide. Oh, what a moment that would have been for the number 7. Crashes the crossbar with 3 minutes to go. What a moment that would have been. But he's hit the crossbar. Goal kick taken long here now by Amos, out to the Port Vale left. Headed away though there by Platt and then flicked on by Abbott, but cleared there by Hall. Headed down for Port Vale and over the top. Ball from Curtis. It's chested down here. Can Port Vale get the second goal? No, they can't. Umolu tackled there in the end by McDonald. And they've got 2 minutes of added on time to save themselves in this game, Notts County. Or it will be 6 points out of 6 for Port Vale in games against Notts County this season. It's on the far side halfway line with Bordeaux. Now to Palmer on halfway. Goes across to Hinchy. Palmer again. Johnson. Out to this near side now to Hinchy. Works its way to Cerula. Drives forward, gets in front of Curtis, and then cuts onto his left foot. From afar, he'll go for the shot, which is blocked and into the hands of Amos. Got in the way well there. Connor Hall. And Port Vale have just got over a minute left to see this game through. Amos, who will kick this out of his hands as far as he possibly can. Into the Stoke sky. It's glanced on as well, up to Amulo, and then it'll be Harper to try and take over. But the touch is heavy, cleaned up by Cerula. And it's now Hinchy on the edge of the 18-yard box, 45 seconds to go for Notts County. He plays out to the left to Palmer. On once more to Bordeaux. Orange shirts flooding the 18-yard box. As Bordeaux goes back inside to Hinchy. And then to the right now to Cerula. Just goes behind him, but he can keep the ball in play. Cerula. Just get the cross in. There's bodies in there. But they keep passing it around. McDonald will then put the cross into the box. And it goes over the head of Traore. And behind for a goal kick. And that will probably be that for Notts County tonight. It'll be their 7th loss of the season in the league. It'll be their 4th loss away from home. Their first since the middle of December. We've played the 7 added on. I'm assuming the goal kick will be taken and the referee's whistle of Ruben Ricardo will be heard. Goal kick taken. No whistle yet blown. Up towards Curtis, who can get there ahead of Palmer. Ronan Curtis driving out towards the right-hand side. Can't have much left to play. He's aiming for the corner flag. He can't get around McDonald before the ball goes out of play. And it'll be a throw-in for Notts County. Right near their corner flag here. But before they can take it, the referee blows that whistle for full time. It's a huge 3 points for Port Vale and Darren Moore on his 1 year anniversary at the club. It doesn't take them up a position, but it puts them right up closer to those in front of them. They're just 1 point now off Notts County, who will remain in second place for now. And it's the man off the bench, Ronan Curtis, who came on for the injured Jaden Stockley, got the winner right near the end. With 5 minutes to play. It was a ball into the box by the striker, Lauren Tolite. It looped in the air, and Johnson left Curtis unmarked, who chested it down and then volleyed it right-footed in the 6-yard box through the legs of the goalkeeper, Bass. And it only took one shot on target for Port Vale to win the game. It was their only shot on target, and Ronan Curtis scored it. Huge night at home for Port Vale, who were able to win once again on their own turf. 3 wins in a row now at home for Darren Moore's men. Huge disappointment for Notts County, who were the much better team in the first half, but completely faded away in the game in the second half. Port Vale got on top, continued playing their direct way, which got on top of Notts County. They weren't really able to deal with it as effectively as they were in the first half. Port Vale come out with the 3 points, and in this promotion race for League One football next season, Port Vale have took a huge step in the right direction. It's not the end of the world for Notts County, who have got their 6-game unbeaten run cut to an end. Unfortunately for them, they were also on a run of 4 away wins in a row, but Port Vale have put an end to that as well. Like I say, Port Vale in 6th position are just 1 point off Notts County in 2nd. That's how close it is in those playoff/automatic spots in this league. It's definitely a league to look out for sure. It's so close, high up in the league table. But it's Port Vale's night tonight, and Darren Moore will be delighted. He wouldn't have been delighted with their first half performance, that's for sure, but the second half was a lot better, and Stuart Maynard for Notts County, he'll be really frustrated because they were so good in that first half, really playing their football and knocking it about. And it kind of just all went away in that second half. And there's Darren Moore celebrating with the Port Vale supporters. That's his 20th victory in charge of the club, and that was his 54th game in charge. And they will be trying to aim to try and get themselves back into League One for next season if they can. Thank you to everyone who has listened tonight. Make sure you like and subscribe before you go. We've got another commentary coming at the end of this week. Arsenal women taking on the Tottenham women in the North London derby at the Emirates on Sunday at 12:30. But for tonight, it is Port Vale who come away with the 3 points. It was a poor first half from the Valiants, but they were able to get back on top in the second half. A late goal with 5 minutes to play from Ronan Curtis was the difference. And now they're just 1 point off Notts County, who are in second place. Who's going to get those playoff spots? Who will go up automatically? It's all to play for in League Two, but here tonight it finishes Port Vale 1, Notts County 0.